Are we streaming? Are we live? Where's Joe Newbo? Are you here?
I'm here.
All right, Joe, continue on. I think, can you guys check YouTube if we're streaming now? We should be streaming again.
Let's see. I don't know. Well, I guess I can start over.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live. Yeah, we're live.
All right, we're back.
all right.
Sorry, guys. Technical difficulty. Let's continue.
All right, so let's say this again, I guess. So for me, it's simple. If the offense shows up, I think we win this game. We can take advantage of that terrible Titans special teams. We have the best special teams in the league, according to DVOA. We're not stopping Derrick Henry. He's rushing for at least 150 yards, in my opinion. No Calais Campbell, no Brandon Williams. There are two best defensive linemen. It's going to be a challenge, Derrick Henry. Yeah, like you said, Titan Upload, like I mentioned earlier, these are two completely different teams. We both are decimated with injuries. So it's going to be one of those games that we just got to grind out.
Yep, and it's all about stopping the run and making Lamar beat us on the sideline like we tried to do last year. But Dean Pease isn't walking through that door for our defense. So it's going to be a struggle. Landry's going to have to play a lot of snaps again. Roberson is a guy probably nobody's ever heard of, but he had high energy against the Steelers. So, it is what it is. But if the Titans can't stop the run, unfortunately, I don't know if it'll even come down to special teams. But if we can stop the run, then we'll be able to make a game of it. And like you said, we're like 31st in special teams, I think, with that stat you gave out. So we got a lot of work in front of us. That's for sure.
All right, guys, we're a little bit behind due to that lag delay here, but I appreciate you guys. We got to move on. Thank you, guys. Good luck to both teams. And Tennessee, you need to bounce back. Let's put it that way. Thanks, guys. All right, Detroit Lions and Panthers. And Panthers, we got a lot of questions. Teddy Bridgewater, what's going on with him? Is he playing? Is he not playing? Panthers, you guys are in trouble, man. Both these teams. I think the Lions are kind of working their way up, and the Panthers are kind of on their way down. I'll let you guys dive in.
Well, before we even get started, I would like to say a very special shout out to Fuck 2020. All right, now, Teddy Bridgewater here is, they're out there on the field. They're doing his pregame progressions with the coach. I heard the owner was out there. I heard the GM was out there. Said he's moving fluidly without the brace. But again, the ultimate decision lies in Matt Rule's hand. Will he play? Will he not play? Again, it's a toss-up right now. We probably won't know until the 12 o'clock hour here, but I wouldn't be surprised if they sit him. I won't be surprised if they start him either, because that's the Carolina way. Now, let's talk about this matchup right here. We're also missing two starting offensive linemen. Doesn't help out injured quarterback. I mean, it doesn't make sense to put a guy out there without his best protection, so that's another reason why I believe PJ should be starting. But if he does, okay, it makes sense to the Carolinians. Defensive end Romeo Okura from the Detroit Lions has 6 sacks this year. I think he'll be licking his chops to get a hold of those two backup offensive linemen. Also, defensive end Everett Gripson had 5 pressures, 5 hits on Alex Smith last week against the Washington Redskins. He'll be lined up against Taylor Motor, which I'm not too much worried about. I think Taylor can hold it down. But who knows? They rotate those guys. It could be a field day of sacks. They're also dealing with a plethora of injuries when it comes to Matt Stafford. He has thumb injury, but it looks like he can play through that as well. Carolina Panthers have given up the 9th most receiving yards to a tight end, 548. 5 touchdowns, 9th most receiving yards given up to a tight end. And it looks like they have a favorable matchup with TJ Hawkinson. So I think TJ should be able to get his off. Marvin Hall will fill in for the injured Galladay. And also, due to the fact that DeAndre Swift is out there, promising rookie, they have Adrian Peterson and Kerry Johnson. Again, we struggled against the run. It hasn't changed all season. So, again, this is the battle of the injured and wounded. But Detroit, to me, has the slight edge over these guys. And even though they had the 29th overall defense, the 30th run defense, the 24th passing defense, I think they got a slight edge over us due to injuries.
Yeah. Hey, you said it. You said it best, man. We're both limping into this one. Stafford's has every single finger injury you could possibly have. We already listed 5 starters out for this game, so we're both just trying to get through this one. I'm just hoping both quarterbacks can play, honestly. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to expect. I mean, week by week, you don't really know what you're going to get from our team. It's probably the same how you feel as well. So I don't really know what to expect. I'm just hoping, we let Stafford take some shots. I'm hoping that, thumb injury isn't anything that, holds him back. But he looked fine against Washington when he had it in the first half. He finished the game out. He played his best game of the season. So I'm excited to see what it looks like there. No Kenny Galladay, so he's going to lose his weapon. Like you said, They did activate Mohamed Sanu, but I think it starts with us taking shots, opening up the run game, helping out Carry on, helping out AP because, we don't have Swift back there. And then defensively, it'll be interesting. How do you feel if they have to start PJ Walker? You think that's a big difference? You think that's a big decline?
Yeah, I mean, that's the difference between eating at Subway and then eating at Little Caesars. It's a big difference. Subway, it's not the greatest shit in the world. Teddy is Subway, but the Little Caesars isn't shit. Constipation. But let's be honest here. If we're fully healthy, we're kicking the living shit out of you guys. I mean, we're just not healthy, man, and then we're inconsistent as fuck. We're unable to get sacks all year long. We're one of the worst teams when it comes to getting sacks. So even with your quarterback thumb being messed up, I give us a little bit of credit when it comes to passing defense. We're not that bad, and then you guys are missing Galladay. So only issue there is the tight end. If y'all can establish the run and some kind of chemistry with the tight end Hawkinson, y'all might pull it out. I got y'all winning 23-17, or excuse me, 20-17, and it's a close one, man. And it's sad to see that this late in the season, your quote unquote franchise quarterback, it seems like they're out there trying to force him to go with 2 backup offensive linemen. I don't get that. Teddy, please sit your ass down. There's no need to be out there. We have shit to play for. Let's get in the Trevor Lawrence boat.
Hey, you got a close prediction of mine. I went 23-20 Lions, so we're thinking on the same page there. Man, I wish I could see my team healthy too this year, man. You said you blow us out if you were healthy, but I'm just saying, like, man, I just want to see our team healthy for once. But no, I mean, this is kind of like last year. We had to deal with a lot of injuries, and it's an opportunity. They can get back to 500. We saw the Cardinals lose. It's a chance to get into that wild card race. We've already had the tiebreaker over the Cardinals, but this is it. I mean, this is your opportunity because if you lose today, you got a really tough stretch. I mean, we got a lot of playoff teams coming up. So playoffs basically start this week. We got to get it done. I got Lions by 3.
All right. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you being here, as always. Appreciate it. So let's move on here to the Patriots and Texans. Texans rep not here, but Patriots Global. What's happening, man, with this matchup?
Hey, Joe. I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you, man. Is that a new background there?
Yes, it is.
I like it. Looks sharp, man. So you guys are the 2-point favorite here. You guys are 4-5. Obviously, this game means way more to you than it does to the Texans here. You're on the road. How does this play out, man?
Yeah, so I mean, I like this matchup. Obviously, the Texans, they're not a great team, luckily enough for the Patriots, but they do always play hard. Even if you look towards last year, you look the year before, no matter how this team always pans out, it's always a tough matchup. But obviously, they got a lot going on. They got a lot of missing pieces. This is just not the year. Trading pieces away, players being injured, firing your head coach. So I like this matchup for the Patriots. I think that the Patriots do come out with this win. I think that you just look at personnel matchups, and the New England Patriots just have them beat. I mean, they're getting Stephon Gilmore back this week also, which is going to be just a huge boost to this defense. I think that the best part about the Texans right now is going to be their offense. Obviously, Deshaun Watson, he's a great quarterback, whether it's, being a pocket passer, whether it's being mobile. You also have 2 of the fastest wide receivers in the league. I mean, you got Will Fuller, you got Brandon Cooks. Those guys are going to be hard to stop. So I think it's going to come down to the Patriots secondary in order to stop this Houston Texans offense. And of course, you're getting back Stephon Gilmore. You got JC Jackson on the other side. So I really like how this matchup is panning out for the Patriots. Now, injury-wise for the Patriots, they are pretty banged up. Most of these guys, though, I do expect to play. But Adam Butler, he was ruled out, the defensive tackle, and that is a position that the Patriots are really struggling at.
Everybody's saying Watson's such a great quarterback. And trust me, when he got paid, I'm like, okay, that's well-deserved. I didn't get the same type of feeling of like, when Wentz got paid and he hadn't really done anything and he got this mega contract. But when Watson got paid, I was like, okay, yeah, it kind of makes sense. But, I mean, if you're paid that much, I don't think he's been stepping up, to that pay grade level. What do you think his biggest problem is with the Texans? Do you think it's their O-line? Do you think it's a combination of things? Like, he's got good weapons. Like, they're not terrible. Cooks is not a bad receiver. Like, they've got good receivers. Like, what is the issue with Watson this year? I mean, coaching, you could say that at the beginning of the year, but what's the problem now? I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big one is offensive line injuries and the fact that they are just really blowing out this season. I mean, either way, it's hard to have chemistry with guys when it's constantly coming in and out and in and out. I mean, they traded their best receiver in DeAndre Hopkins. Obviously, that was not easy for him. I mean, they even said at the trade deadline that any receiver at that point, almost pretty much every player on the Texans was available for a trade. And obviously, if you're Deshaun Watson and you're trying to get things going, you're trying to build this chemistry and you're trying to drive the ball down the field and all that's not going to be too easy when, you have guys coming in and out. But I think ultimately it comes down to that offensive line, him not having enough time, but also, of course, coming down to coaching coming in and out and things constantly switching.
One more question here for fantasy. You guys are a fantasy football disaster. I hate the Patriots when it comes to fantasy, especially running backs. Fucking disaster. So my question to you is, Sony's coming back. Who do you roll out? If you had to roll out some fantasy running back from the Patriots, who would it be?
100% Damian Harris. I don't think that you can go any other way. Of course, the Patriots do like to have a committee. You're never going to roll with one specific running back. But if you look over the past few weeks, if they are really rolling with one running back, it's 100% Damian Harris. Now, he has been dealing with an injury, but he played last week against the Ravens, looked extremely well, over 100 yards, and he has had about three or four now, over 100 rushing yard games. Sony coming back, a lot of people are asking, okay, what are the Patriots going to do in this matchup? Is Sony going to be a guy that comes back and takes that number one role? And there's no way it happens. I mean, Sony had his first 100-yard rushing game week 3 against the Raiders before he was placed on injured reserve, which was his first since the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs, which means he didn't have one all last season. Not in the post game, not the first 2 weeks. I don't see how Sony comes back and wins this job. Damian Harris is killing it on the ground, averaging more than 5 yards per carry.
Actually, our Texans guy just rolled in. We got to get a word from him real quickly. He's going to stick up for his team. Ruben, you there?
I'm here, Joe, and I'm here back better than ever. How's it going?
Good, man. Your hair is growing back after that incident where you shaved your head after you thought the Texans would win, for all those people who missed out. So, man, we got this matchup here. Patriots Global here. Colby, pretty confident that they're going to win here. What are your thoughts on the Texans in this game?
Well, Joe, first I have to say something. It is my birthday today.
Happy birthday, man.
So I would love nothing more for us to go and beat these damn New England Patriots. But the reality is they're a better running team than the Cleveland Browns were. One thing about the Patriots is that they know your weakness. They know what you can do. And the Houston Texans cannot stop the run for whatever reason. Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be a very tough game, but we have one thing that saves your eyes, and that is Deshaun Watson. And let's hope he goes off today. But it's going to be a fun game nonetheless.
Thanks. Final score here from you guys.
I'm going to go 24-13, Pats.
That's fair.
I'm going to go 21-14 Pats.
Wow. But it's your birthday. They got to win.
All right, fuck it. 35-0 Texans.
Okay, it's not realistic, but okay. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. I appreciate it. We got you right in time there, Ruben. Good timing, man.
No worries.
All right, where's Chiseled? I want to see the Chiseled. Is he here? Chiseled Adonis. Is he in the house?
Can you hear me, Joe?
There you are, Mr. Chase Claypool. What's going on?
Yes, indeed.
You called it.
I'm feeling great. Chase Claypool, 9 touchdowns from scrimmage in 9 games. You love to see it.
We called the breakout of Chase Claypool. That's why I called you Claypool, because, I mean, you kind of foresaw this before a lot of people. I think the mainstream were sleeping on this guy. Nobody was talking about Claypool. We saw the talent. I love it. I love Claypool.
Yeah, we talked about it in the offseason, and look how it manifested. You love to see it.
So what's going on? Expectations for this game? I mean, really, do we need to talk about this? I mean, it should be a blowout easy, I think, against Jacksonville.
Well, it should be, but if you look at the track record against the Jaguars, the last 3 games, it's been nothing of that case. I mean, the last time that we went one-on-one with the Jacksonville Jaguars, we had Big Ben have to go out there and put on some late-game heroics, and then the game before that, we had an abysmal defense in the playoff game, and we blew it, and then the game before that, Ben threw 5 interceptions. Every single time we play against the Jacksonville Jaguars, for some apparent reason, Ben decides, I want to turn to Baker Mayfield and cook up apple turnovers. We don't want to have this happen this particular game. We've got to stay focused. And if you look at Jacksonville's defense, they have nobody who should be able to stop our receiving core. But for some apparent reason, they were in the game in the fourth quarter last week against Green Bay, not by, their own omission of being able to shut down Green Bay. It just seemed as if Green Bay kind of overlooked them. And then finally at the fourth quarter, they said, wait a minute, we're the Packers. And they gave them the beats by Dre. So I'm just hoping that Pittsburgh doesn't fall into that hole. For the last 3 games, we haven't been able to run the football effectively. Jacksonville aren't necessarily run stoppers at that. Their pass defense is absolutely abysmal. We should go out there and score 30-plus, but I think it's going to be much closer because for some apparent reason, this particular season, Pittsburgh just loves to win games within a touchdown. They want to give their fans a heart attack, so I expect this game to be much closer than expected. I'm going to go – I think Pittsburgh will be over 25 points, but they do, if I'm not mistaken, they're top 3 in the league in giving up big plays. So I think they're going to keep, Jacksonville's offense, the yardage very short, but they're going to score on large plays. So I think it's probably going to be about a 28-24 or 28-20 kind of game.
What is the issue with the Steelers this year in running the ball? Connor has just not been effective. Mind you, they're making it up in the passing game, but why so much passing over the running? What's going on, you think?
To be honest with you, I think it's more the play calling than the effectiveness of the players because they're trying to run. I think it was they're running like an outside kind of zone that they're doing. They're running outside with James Conner when this offensive line is built to run between the tackles. James Conner's not a scat back who's going to get outside and although he can make a lot of people miss, his strength is running in between, the tackles, going up that A gap, going through that B gap. So as long as Fichtner can finally get his head out of his ass and call the right plays for James Conner, I think we should be able to have him, run the football effectively. If a lot of people have already forgotten, James Conner ran for 100 yards in 3 of the first 5 games. And then all of a sudden now they started changing the way that they're using them. This offense should be able to average over 400 yards every single game. But for some apparent reason, when Fichtner starts to go out there and get creative, we take a step back. Let Ben run his own plays when he's throwing the football. And then when we're running the football, let James Conner run through the middle. We got Derek Watt on the squad, but we barely put him on the field at fullback. Let him go run into some people and open up the running lanes.
Well, we got JT from JT Sports here. JT, do you want to cover and give us a quick breakdown of the Jacksonville Jaguars real quick and expectations?
Yeah, man. So the Steelers need to blow out the Jaguars because a lot of my Jaguar fans here, I am a Steelers fan, been saying that, JT, the Jaguars are going to beat the Steelers, man. And basically, this is a Jacksonville Jaguars Super Bowl. My friends say, you know what? As long as we beat Pittsburgh and JT, we take that YouTube money that you make, we're going to be fine. So here's the thing that concerns me is that Pittsburgh at one point had the best run defense in the NFL. Ever since they played Baltimore, they have given up over 163.7 rushing yards per game. Don't really know why. And the Jacksonville Jaguars have James Robinson as their halfback. And James Robinson is pretty much their most reliable player that they have on offense. Their second best would probably be Laviska Shenault, but he's questionable. So I need James Robinson to score a touchdown, but I don't want him to, smash the Pittsburgh Steelers from my fantasy team. So for Jacksonville, Jay Lewin is the starting quarterback. With the blitzes that Pittsburgh brings, blitzing more than any other team in the NFL, Jay Lewin should get confused. But, last time I thought Ibaka was going to get confused. What was his name? Garrett Gilbert was shredding the Steelers defense. So I hope Pittsburgh is going to blow out Jacksonville. Bold take. I'm going to call my Jaguar fans at the game. They're pretty much not going to answer. But I hope that Pittsburgh wins this game. I think the score is going to be 35-10, because Pittsburgh, although we've been inconsistent when it comes to beating teams that are pretty that don't really have the talent that the Steelers possess, they beat them down like Cincinnati. People said the Bengals were going to pull off the upset. Joe Burrow was eating grass all whole entire game. So Pittsburgh to win 31-10 final score prediction.
And I'm happy you brought up Robinson, because right now, if I'm not mistaken, he's leading all rookies in all scrimmage yards. And on top of that, the last 3 games, 2 games ago, he ran for 99 yards. But for all intents and purposes, the last 3 games, he's gone over 100 yards in total yards. And Pittsburgh, if they let this guy get going and Jacksonville can have a balanced attack, offensively, we're going to have a problem. Because for all intents and purposes, if Pittsburgh takes the lead and they're up by 2 possessions, and now you got Luton having to drop back and throw Jacksonville into this game, this should be no problem for Pittsburgh. The secondary should have at least 2 picks. You should see Pittsburgh walk away with at least 6 sacks because for all intents and purposes, the last 5 games in which they played against teams that had piss poor offensive lines, Pittsburgh was only able to get about between 2 to 4 sacks when they should be getting between 6 to maybe 8. So I think this could be a coming out game for TJ Watt, which is crazy to say because nobody is underrating TJ Watt. But this should be one of those games where you see 3 sacks, maybe 2 forced fumbles. He may just get an interception as well. But Pittsburgh needs to make sure they keep their foot on Jacksonville's neck and walk away with a huge emphatic win.
Exactly. And one more thing that concerns me is that Jacksonville, when you looked at Dallas got the ball out really fast. Garrett Gilbert was really good at knowing where he wanted to go with the football. And plus, Dallas was balanced. And a good way to beat Pittsburgh is by being balanced, because if you have to be put in a situation that you have to throw the ball to beat Pittsburgh, then you're at a disadvantage because Pittsburgh can just play pass whole entire game. But when you're balanced, you force Pittsburgh to actually think about what's going to happen with the Dallas Cowboys. Garrett Gilbert was doing damage, but you have Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott doing damage as well. So you got Jay Gruden, the OC down there in Jacksonville. He runs a West Coast offense. So for Pittsburgh, I think you need to be able to make sure that these wide receivers don't really create a lot of separation, maybe play a little bit more press coverage at the line of scrimmage, because if you allow these wide receivers to get space and to create a little bit of separation and you allow Jay Luton to get the ball out fast, then this could be a very long day for the Steelers defense, because a great way to counter the blitz is by getting the ball out fast, taking advantage of the aggressiveness with screen passes.
All right, guys, we got to move on to the next match. I appreciate it, though. JT, do you want to stay on here real quick? We're going to bring on Ed from Washington football team real quick. It's Bengals versus Washington. Thanks, Donis. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate you, man, as always. Cincinnati and Washington. So Washington football team, what's going on, man? Ed.
What's going on, man? So there's a lot of storylines in this game. Chase Young, Joe Burrow went to Ohio State. Terry McLaurin went to Ohio State. You know, the story of Dwayne Haskins beating out Joe Burrow for the starting position at Ohio State. But, you know, now the tables have turned a little bit. But I think this is somewhat of a winnable game. It's at home. The weather's not bad, you know, so but the Bengals' run defense is ranked like 27th. They've given up 32 sacks on the year. So that's a perfect game for Chase Young. It's a perfect game for Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne. So we really have to get to Joe Burrow to win this game. We have to win the turnover battle. Chase Young just has to have a big day. Look for Terry McLaurin. Look out for a guy named Cam Sims, a wide receiver. The Bengals have been struggling with their secondary. They got a couple injuries as well. So those are my keys to win it today. My question for you before we get to the Bengals real quick, how long will Alex Smith last, do you think? You think he's the big guy, or do you think we're going to go back to Haskins? That's a good question. Alex Smith has actually been playing well. He's known as a check down Charlie quarterback, but he's actually gunslinging the football since he's came back. So far in the 2 games, he had like 300 yards in both games. So he's not playing like the Alex Smith that he usually is. But I wouldn't mind him starting next year. And say we get a top 5 pick, maybe you get Trey Lance or Zach Wilson, because I don't think we'll be able to get Justin Fields or, of course, Trevor. So you let Zach Wilson sit for a year and then let Alex play like the first 8 games or something like that. So that could happen if Alex wins like 2 or 3 more games. And if we win 3 more games, we might even win the NFC least. What do you think, JT? What do you think of this matchup? Who wins this one?
This was tough. Initially, I had Washington because Cincinnati isn't great on third down. And you look at Washington, I think their third down defense is pretty okay, and they have a really good defensive line. But now that I think about it, Washington's linebacker unit hasn't really been great, and neither one of these teams' linebacker units have been great. John Bostic for Washington has been pretty abysmal at times. So for me, it's going to be the team who can really get the run game going, because whoever can get that run game going can control time possession. And for Cincinnati, you like your matchup between these wide receivers against these Washington defensive backs, because their best defensive back in Landon Collins, he got injured like a couple of weeks ago. He's out for the season. So in terms of, the matchup for Cincinnati, I thought Washington was going to win this one without a doubt, but now I'm going to take Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati, with the wide receivers that they have and Washington's problems with that secondary, like the only reason they're really good is because their defensive line creates constant pressure. But Joe Burrow, if you give him an opportunity, he can get the ball out fast. And I like these wide receivers against these cornerbacks for Washington. So I'll take Cincinnati 28-20 is my final score prediction.
Appreciate you, JT.
The good thing is Joe Mixon is out, so that's a huge help with our run defense. We got to get the ball to Gibson. The Bengals' run defense is bad too. I actually have us losing, but for good luck purposes, whenever I say we're going to lose, we end up winning somehow. So I say we lose this 1-2, 31-28.
Well, I appreciate you guys. I think Bernard's going to run wild, man. There's a chance he could. I don't like Cincinnati's rush defense at all. So, Cincinnati. Bernard's going to run wild. Gibson's going to run wild on the Bengals. I think Bernard's going to have a safe game. There you go. I got it right now.
There you go.
There you go. All right. But I think Gibson's got a phenomenal matchup today, honestly.
Yeah, he should.
All right. Let's move on to the Saints. There's a lot of question marks, guys, about Taysom Hill. Zach, do you want to come in and cover that? And JT, you can cover the Falcons if you're good enough for it. We'll keep you on for 3 in a row here. But I mean, a lot of big question marks about Taysom Hill now and what's going to happen. Is he going to perform well? For fantasy, we don't know whether to plug him in as a tight end or as a quarterback, depending on what league you're in. Zach, do you want to give us a breakdown on Taysom Hill expectations?
Yeah, so the Saints decided that they want to test out to see if Taysom Hill can be a quarterback and see if he can start and play at a high level, as he's previously just been used as a gadget guy, but they did sign him to a big contract, so this is going to be his time to prove it. Personally, I think starting Winston would have given them a better chance to win this game, and I think he would do a better job of, because in my opinion, he's a better quarterback. He's proven that he can make plays, and Taysom hasn't started a game as a quarterback in the NFL, and he's only thrown minimal passes, and in college he wasn't great at throwing the ball. So I think that the Falcons could actually sneakily win this game because their offense is better than the Saints offense will be. And yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say their offense is better than the Saints offense, because with Atlanta, Atlanta's defense is really bad, even though it has improved over Raheem Morris. And that's something else that a lot of people are talking about. This is Raheem Morris' first game against a winning team. The last couple of games that he's won, ever since he's taken over for Atlanta, I think he's either like 3-1 or 4-1 as the interim head coach. So this is a big audition for him, because this is really going to be a game that we're going to figure out, okay, is he a good coach? And for Atlanta, their secondary is still banked up. I know New Orleans is going to be without cornerback Marshawn Lattimore in this game, but I mean, you like the Saints pass defense in this game more than you like the Falcons pass defense in this game. But even though you do have Taysom Hill, I think Taysom Hill was a starter over Jameis Winston, because with Jameis Winston, you get your typical drop back passer. He has a little bit of athleticism, but when you look at how the NFL game is going now, you look at Russell Wilson, Kyler Lamar, what can they all do? What do they all have in common with Taysom Hill? Well, Taysom Hill is a really good quarterback when he's running the football. So I expect Sean Payton to run the ball on Atlanta. I expect to see a lot of innovative plays, and you still got Michael Thomas there. You still have Alvin Kamara in the backfield, and you still have Emmanuel Sanders there. So you still have a lot of weapons. It's just going to come down to, can Taysom Hill execute? So I expect the Saints to win this game, regardless of how bad the quarterback play is. Give me the Saints 24-17.
Yeah, I'd say the Saints are still favored to win this game because of all their offensive weapons and the fact that Alvin Kamara has done so much on the ground, and Taysom Hill, they can run the option all day. But I think it's going to come down to the end of the game when can Taysom Hill make that one big throw that they need, because Matt Ryan and Julio Jones are going to put up points with Calvin Ridley. He's playing, and it's going to come down to, can Taysom Hill make that throw? I think he'll make some throws, and I think he'll also miss some big throws in this game. And I just think that the Falcons could actually win this.
All right,
because of their coaching change and because their offense, Matt Ryan's still, and he's trying to prove that he's not done, and he wants to play again next year for him.
Just a question for you, Zach, real quick before we move on from this one. Do you think Kamara's going to be effective? Taysom Hill runs the ball a lot more.
Yeah, I think Kamara will be effective. I think, honestly, having a running quarterback, I don't think it negates from him at all, because they can run the option, and that makes another guy guard Taysom Hill instead of going after Kamara right away, because when Drew Brees hands it off, Drew Brees isn't keeping the ball.
Right.
When Taysom Hill hands the ball off, Taysom Hill can keep the ball and run.
Right.
So that makes the defense look at Taysom Hill as opposed to just diverting all their attention to. And they still have to keep their eye on Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders too, because it's not like they're bad either. So the defense will have to cover the whole field this game. So I think it's good for Kamara.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. We got to move on here. New York Jets. Ian, are you here?
Yes, Joe, I am here. What's going on? How are you?
Good, man. So what do we got to say? What do we do right now? Jets, I mean, at this point, what's the game plan? I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, my God. The game plan is to lose, to be honest with you. I mean, what's the point of keeping Adam Gase? What's the point of keeping Sam Darnold moving forward? I mean, I've been here for the entire show. We've heard, Carolina talk a little bit about Trevor Lawrence and whatnot. But right now, the Jets are favored, right? The Jets are favored for that number 1 pick. I'm not in any sort of position right now to win a meaningless game down the stretch.
Yeah.
Not at all. Like I'm all in Trevor Lawrence. And to be honest with you, it kind of sucks because, every single year by mid-October, Jets fans are already thinking about the draft. But in the draft, so pivotal, how could you not be excited? So, I'm going into this game, to be honest, like I'm expecting the Chargers to really just rout New York. I think the line coming out of Vegas was 10, Chargers -10. So
yeah.
Honestly, I would take that all day. The Jets are banged up at corner. The Jets don't really have many wide receivers as it is. And then Joe Flacco is going to be playing too. So we'll see. And then plus another thing that you also have to kind of take into consideration is New York going across the country. So I'm going Chargers all day.
Let me ask you, when you're watching these games, do you think there's a bit of a conspiracy, or not conspiracy, but do you think it's blatantly obvious that the teams are kind of not trying, like the Jets aren't trying, or do you think they're actually losing because they're just not that good? Or do you think they're thinking in the back, let's just throw this game, let's just not try that hard, are they actually playing to win? What's the thought process, do you think, honestly?
So I think, whenever you hear the word tanking and like trying to lose and all that kind of stuff, trying to secure the number 1 pick, I think that comes from a top-down perspective. So I think the general manager, the front office, really just puts a bad product out on the field, a team that can't really compete with a coaching staff that just gets, frankly, outcoached every game.
Right.
I don't really think the players saying, oh, I want Trevor Lawrence, let me not run as hard, let me miss this tackle. I think players have a distrust with the coaching staff. I think maybe halfway through a season. I mean, we're even seeing it right now with like Michigan football in college. Right. Players just buying out or opting out. They're just like, yeah, I'm done. I'm not sold. I'm out of here, kind of thing. Not really giving it their all.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so
makes total sense, because I can't imagine players with the work ethic that they have going into the NFL, playing in the NFL on top level, that they would want to have terrible performances. So yeah, it is from up above, and imagine putting putting their soldiers in a bad situation, or the wrong soldiers out there, pretty much is probably the only way to explain it.
Right.
Yeah, I kind of feel for you, but hopefully next year. Now, again, Trevor Lawrence entering the situation, we talked about it briefly with Doug. What happens? What do you guys got to do to protect him and make sure that he actually thrives with the Jets, not feels like he's going in to lose, right?
Yeah, so I mean, the one thing that I feel like the one big misconception is Trevor Lawrence will be walking into a horrible situation. Like he would honestly be like walking into the Jets now, but that's not really the case, because we're going to have a brand new coaching staff. Mekhi Becton, Quinnen Williams, and then Denzel Mims are really the only bright spots. I like Brian Poole too, but he's not like a young core piece. But this Jets team has just been a complete disgrace. It's been an embarrassment. There's definitely going to be changes made. So he's going to be walking into a situation with a brand new coaching staff, with the number one goal of the offseason would be to not only just draft Lawrence, of course, but then how do we get this guy to succeed? Whether it's getting interior offensive line play, help at tight end, running back, which is, virtually two positions that the Jets can't get any production out of at all. And there's a couple good wide receivers, scheduled to hit the free agent market as well, like Allen Robinson and whatnot, possibly Smith-Schuster. But I think all in all, I think the Jets are just going to be entering the offseason, again, draft Lawrence, and then we're going to do everything in our power to protect this guy and then build the franchise around him, kind of like Josh Allen with Buffalo.
Thanks, Ian. You really answered those questions really well, very thoroughly. I like that. And, I mean, there is a bright spot. I mean, we saw what the Dolphins did and how terrible they were. So that if that's kind of a telling tale that you can turn things around after a bad season, hopefully the Jets can do it as well.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is just the coach. I mean, if the Jets mess this coaching hire up again, we're screwed. We're honestly screwed. I mean, they cannot go out and hire another Adam Gase. They can't keep him around. You know, they just cannot do that. They have to get that hire right.
It's funny how they're keeping him around just to lose, right?
Dude, honestly, man, like if I'm Gase, it's so embarrassing, honestly.
It is.
I mean, you see him walking off the field after getting blown out, and he just shakes the hands of, he just shakes hands with the owner and whatnot. It's a disgrace, honestly.
Oh my goodness. All right, man. Well, thanks, Ian. We appreciate you as always, man. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, man. Good luck to the Jets next season. All right, Packers and Colts. I'll handle the Colts here, but I'll let Basarowski do most of the talking because I hate my Colts. Don't ask why. It's just, I don't know. I'm just not a Rivers fan. I'm a fantasy more than reality kind of person. So when I look at the Colts, I look at, why aren't you running Jonathan Taylor? Anyway, Basarowski, what do you think, man, this game?
I'm going to first out and say thank you to the Jets real quick for hiring Adam Gase because the Packers actually interviewed him and chose Matt LaFleur over him. And Matt LaFleur is one of the best starts in Green Bay history in terms of coaching. So thank you to the Jets there. But circling back to the Colts, the one thing I'm worried about most isn't Phillip Rivers. I think he has 11 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. He's pretty much a game manager at this point in his career. The thing I'm worried about is their defense. I think it's top 3 in the league. They're number 1 in yards. I think they're number 4 in points. So my main worry is defense. Packers seem to struggle against a physical, hard playing defense. And I think that's where the issue is going to be. Obviously it's in a dome. So I think Aaron does play really well in domes. And then also on the Packers side of the ball, Alan Lazard is expected to play. Yeah. It's said to be on a snap count, but if there's any indication when they put Aaron Jones on a snap count, he had the first 5 plays went to him. So he'll probably play a lot. This is the first time since week 2, Lazard, Devontae, MVS, Jones, and Jamal have all been on the field at the same time or able to play at the same time. So, and that's when the Packers are scoring 35, 40 points a game. But like I said, Colts defense is very good. So I don't think it's going to be that high scoring of a game, but it's going to be a tough one.
It's going to be entertaining. Let's put it this way. At 4:00, this is probably the game I'll be watching. Let's put it that way.
I think it's one of the better games of the week. Colts, like I said, very good team, 6-3, Packers 7-2.
It's weird that we're the favorite. On paper, again, I look at this and I almost think it's a trap game, or you always think games they're just trying to screw us in Vegas. They know something we don't. Logically, you think the Packers should be the favorite, better record. I think better offense. It's just weird that the Colts would be favored here. I don't know, man. It's crazy. I don't know. It's a weird one.
Well, the thing is, last year when the Packers played the Chargers, Phillip Rivers, dotted them up. They didn't really get home on their pressures against him, and you need to do that to Phillip Rivers. If you don't, he can be a pretty damn good quarterback at this point in his career. But if they and the Packers haven't been that good at getting pressure, they are down step from last year. Zadarius Smith is still top 3 in the league in sacks, but they're not really getting much production out of Preston Smith. Rashawn Gary's doing a little better. But in general, their defensive line and their edge rushers just aren't producing as much as they did last year. But if the key to today would be to pressure Phillip Rivers, because if you do, he will turn over the ball.
He will for sure. Now, do you think the Packers win this one?
Yeah, but I got it a 3-point swing either way. I do. I think it would be around 20-17. The Packers don't have their starting punter, which I think is actually more important than you would think. J.K. Scott couldn't make the trip due to personal reasons, so I think they signed Drew Kaser to punt. In a game like this where it's a defensive battle, or it could be, field position is going to be really important. So if you have a guy that hasn't punted in a while and you get a few bad punts, that can really screw your team. But I got it a 3-point swing either way.
All right, Alex, we appreciate you as always, man. It's going to be a good one. That's the game I'll be watching. Thanks a lot. Thank you. We'll move on to Dallas and Minnesota. What's going on, Dallas? Let's talk about Dallas first. What's going on? What's going on, Joe? Who's your quarterback?
A quarterback is going to be Andy Dalton, man. Andy Dalton's going to get the start nod. We seen last time against the Pittsburgh Steelers that Garrett Gilbert did play a decent game, but Mike McCarthy and the staff wants to stick to Andy Dalton and his veteran leadership. So today, the Dallas Cowboys fans got a huge treat that we all been asking for since probably about week 3. That Zach Martin, all-pro right guard, will be shifting out to right tackle, and Connor McGovern will playing at the right guard position. So Terrence Steele, our big question mark, who's been hurt all season, killing this offensive line, will be on the bench. So a lot of Cowboys fans are excited about that. When it comes to today's matchup, I think it's pretty much a mirror match. I think both Minnesota and also Dallas has a lot of offensive weapons on that side of the ball. Expect a big game from, one of my favorite running backs, to be honest with you, Dalvin Cook, but also Ezekiel Elliott. I expect him to get things back on track. So I expect the offenses look great. It really comes down to whose defense is going to step up. Minnesota's defense has been playing a lot better the past few weeks, but so has Dallas. And we're also playing in the NFC North, which is a division that Mike McCarthy is familiar with. So I expect a close game. I know that Vegas has us losing by 7, but last time we spoke, Joe, I was on Draft Island sitting by the pool, but not today, man. The Dallas Cowboys are not tanking. We're coming to play football, and I expect us to compete and also win this game today in Minnesota.
My concern before we talk to Will here, Ezekiel Elliott, they had a bye week last week. The week before, they were playing the Steelers. Tough matchup. 18 rushes, 51 yards, 2.8 yards per carry. What is going on with Zeke this year? Is it just the offense just being crap all around? Or Zeke Elliott is a top 2 running back. I don't care what anyone says. You could say Cook's better. Zeke's still elite. I don't care. I don't care what anyone says. What has happened to him this year? That's a big question.
I think it's a mixture of a lot. You got to go back with the continuity of the offensive line. That's been changing. Zeke earlier had a few fumbles, so I think that he's hesitating and thinking too much. But also, Mike McCarthy doesn't commit to the run game like Jason Garrett used to. You mentioned 18 rushes. Normally, that was, Zeke's first half, getting 18 carries. So Mike McCarthy really hasn't committed to the run game like Ezekiel Elliott is used to. Hopefully we can get back to that, because you think about it, earlier before Dak Prescott went down, we were playing from behind a lot, which automatically froze Ezekiel Elliott out. So as far as Zeke, I'm really not concerned. As you mentioned, Joe, he's still one of the most dynamic running backs in the NFL still. It's just about getting him the right opportunities at the right time, and then Zeke trusting his opportunities, his instincts, and going from there, hitting the hole. And, he never really had that burst that we see from Dalvin Cook. I'm a Florida State guy. Dalvin Cook's a different type of running back, but Ezekiel Elliott is still very effective. We just have to find ways to include him and also Tony Pollard in this offense.
Will, how does this play out? Thank you, Jordan. How does this play out?
Well, hey, let's start. First of all, let's remember what this game is become every year, because the Vikings and Cowboys have been playing each other every few years. This is the game that Jerry Jones gets to remember that he should have kept Mike Zimmer. Right? That's the first thing, right? Number 2, everybody in the NFC North, even though we all hate each other, we get to watch Mike McCarthy get exposed once again for being a hack of a coach, because we all know that if it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre and all that crap, I could coach the Packers at this point with Aaron Rodgers on the field. Okay, so let's remember what we're watching today. It's Jerry Jones has to watch Mike Zimmer coach, and then he has to look at McCarthy and realize, oh my God, I made a mistake. Now, I love Mike Zimmer. He's taken our defense the last 3 weeks, all NFC North games, all tough interdivision games, unlike the NFC least that's playing Pop Warner every week. The NFC North actually is still the black and blue division of the NFL. And the last 3 weeks, he has took a defense with no starters left, honestly. No name names. Daniel Hunter's out. Anthony Barr's out. The cornerbacks were picking Chris Jones off the practice squad of some random team and putting him in last week against the Bears. And yes, the Bears, but we still did well in Chicago, which has been a house of horrors for the Vikings with Mike Zimmer. So what I'm expecting today is for Mike Zimmer to demonstrate to Jerry Jones, because deep down inside, Mike's looking at Jerry like, you picked these clowns over me? The same thing happens when the Cowboys play the Saints. You picked this clown over me? Now the Giants are beating the Cowboys with the Cowboys ex-coach. So America's team gets to go to 2-8 today. They get to quietly get ready to draft Hill from Ohio State or Trevor, because it's all BS about Dak. If they love Dak so much, they would have signed him long term. So today is just another reminder to everybody in America's team that they should have kept Mike Zimmer when they had him. And so I expect the Vikings to go all in today. Mike loves coaching against the Cowboys. I think Dalvin's going to put up numbers. We're also going to see that you guys should have drafted Jefferson over CeeDee Lamb. So let's just get out there in the game today. And Andy Dalton? Oh my God. Come on now. Mr. Stationary? Okay, we'll see. We'll watch what Mike Zimmer does to Andy Dalton today. I cannot wait for this, because remember, Zimmer was in Cincinnati. He knows who Andy Dalton is. So we'll see what happens today.
Yeah, so what are your final score predictions, guys? Jordan, what do you think?
I got the Cowboys winning 27-21.
Wow.
And just to make sure we understood, we did not lose to the Giants. 2, the only reason this is a close game is because Dak Prescott is hurt. 3, CeeDee Lamb was on track to be Rookie of the Year before Dak Prescott went down. So
shoulda, coulda. Shoulda,
coulda. But if you guys don't have Kirk, if you guys don't have Kirk Cousins,
kept Zimmer. Shoulda, woulda, coulda kept Zimmer.
You're only America's Game of the Week because we're playing. You're only on Fox because we're playing.
Sitting at 2-7.
Your lights on. No one gives a damn about the Minnesota Vikings.
2-7.
No one cares about the Minnesota Vikings. This local team. You're only on Fox because of us.
2-7.
No one's only watching. Joe said he's not even watching. Joe's not even watching this game because it's the Minnesota Vikings. Local team. Lizzo made y'all hot, bro. Lizzo made y'all hot. Lizzo made y'all hot.
2-7.
Oh my goodness.
2-7 in the NFC League.
No one talks about the Vikings except Lizzo.
The playoffs.
No one talks about the Vikings except Lizzo.
2-7. 2-7.
And we still can win
All right,
the Vikings going to win the division. Vikings going to win.
2-7.
Are you going to win your division? No.
2-7. 2-7. 2-7.
Local.
Hey, Jerry.
All right.
Local.
2-7.
Local, bro. You got to go to Buffalo Wild Wings to watch your local ass team, bro. You're only America's team game of the week because we're playing y'all. That's it.
That's it.
No, you guys are so bad. They moved us off Sunday night to this crappy 3 o'clock time because you guys are horrible. If you guys weren't 2-7,
we are not horrible. We don't have our starting quarterback. We're not. We're not. We don't have our starting quarterback. People put 40 on your head. We were hanging 40 on you with Dak Prescott. We were hanging 40 on you. We were hanging 40 on you. We were hanging 40 on you with Dak Prescott. So don't act tough because Andy Dalton or Garrett Gilbert. Of course you're confident right now. Dak Prescott owns Kirk Cousins. He owns Kirk Cousins.
Hey, one question. What's your record?
Get your jokes off right now. When we get quarterback back, we're smacking y'all. Y'all local. You're not winning your division. You're not winning your division. So you're in draft mode just like us. You're in draft mode just like us. You're in draft mode just like us. You're in draft mode just like us, bro. You're in draft mode just like us. Get your mock drafts ready. Get your mock drafts ready. Get your mock drafts ready because you're not going to the playoffs. You're not winning your division. Our offense and our defense still has a chance to win this division and go into the playoffs. Your team does not. Now what?
Ooh, 2-7.
And you have your starting quarterback that you paid all that money to. You had all that. You still have your quarterback you paid all that money to, still struggling. Local.
All right, guys, we got to move on. All right, thank you, guys.
Leaves you all to be great. Bye, Dak. Dak ain't coming back to this mess. Come on.
He is. He will too. And when he does, we'll shred the Minnesota Vikings again.
Okay, shoulda, woulda, coulda. You should have kicked Zimmer. Zimmer beat you guys. Never mind.
All right, guys, we gotta move. We gotta move on to the Chiefs and Raiders here. Thank you, guys. I can't wait. I'm gonna watch this game just because of this fight. I'm excited.
Because it's the Cowboys. That's why you're gonna.
All right, guys. We'll talk soon. Thank you, guys. All right, Chiefs and Raiders. We'll talk. I'll cover this here with Jeff. Jeff, you here?
I am here.
How do we top that up? How do you can't follow that? But the good thing is we've got contenders here. We've got the Chiefs and the Raiders. So there we go. So we've got a good matchup. So that'll help us.
Hold up. We got a contender and we have a pretender. Let's get that straight.
Hold on. Now I'm arguing because I'm a Jacobs. I'm arguing now because I like Jacobs. Jacobs is back.
You're right. But they really, in prime Raiders fashion, that whole ring around the rosy thing after that last win.
Yes.
They have really set the Chiefs on fire. And I think they are going to get every bit of Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs offense today with no defense because the Raiders defense is pretty much out. So, like I said, karma always comes around and hits the Raiders right in the ass. And that's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be a big arrow from the Chiefs hitting the Raiders right in the ass today. That's pretty much what's going to happen.
Yeah, I definitely see a redemption game here. I mean, but if for some unforeseen reason that the Raiders actually pull out a win here, that's pretty damn impressive. You got to put them in the top 5. You got to get power rankings. You have to. If they beat
I will take them from the pretender box to possibly somewhat of a contender for the AFC West if they pull this off.
Yes.
We will see what's happening today. I think we really will see how powerful the Chiefs offense is, because I think they really want to open up and unleash. I think the defense is even going to surprise for the Chiefs today, because they were really pissed off after that last game and really pissed off after they heard, the Raiders chirping a bit about pulling off that win. So it's going to be I think it's going to be a beat down today of epic proportions.
All right, man. It's going to be a good game. We got to move on quick. I know you got to get going. I'm excited for this one. 8 o'clock, I will be watching Jacobs Run Wild on you. There you go.
Oh, all right.
There we go. We're going to see my man, Josh Jacobs. All right, we got our injury guy coming on. We're going to save him for the end here because we've got, I know, we got the Rams and Buccaneers. Trent's been waiting a long time. So we'll talk to Trent, then we got to go to a quick injury report. Our doc came on a little bit later today, so we're going to end it off with him. So Trent, what is going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I guess just 2-7. That's all I can think about right now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what
it's
to
just ingrained. It's just ingrained.
Yeah.
No, I mean, this is a massive game coming up on Monday Night Football. So, usually I feel pretty good about every game the Rams are playing. But I feel this one is even. And even if the Bucs won, I wouldn't be shocked, right? Because both teams have really good defenses. Both teams have potent offenses. And I think really what this game is going to come down to is the Rams defensive coordinator Brandon Staley, who is dialing up one of the best defenses in football. You saw what it did to Seattle last week. And I think, he even was quoted by saying, I've been scheming my whole life to face Tom Brady. So I feel like that's going to be a huge matchup right there, because our secondary is really good. They've got a lot of weapons. Their run defense is first. The Buccaneers run defense is first. So that's going to be tough. But we lost to Andrew Whitworth last week against Seattle. He is top 3 left tackle in all of football. You don't just plug and play a guy in there. But the guy who is plugged in there was a guy who was drafted in 2018 to be the heir apparent at left tackle. And Andrew Whitworth just kind of kept playing at a high level. So it's kind of like that Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers deal where you draft a guy thinking that the old dude is going to retire soon, but he just never does. So we moved Noteboom into to guard, and he hasn't been great at guard. He's been injured a bit. So now he's playing his natural position, left tackle, and he's not going to be Andrew Whitworth, but I think he'll be serviceable. But he is going up against Jason Pierre-Paul. So that's going to be a real tough call for him. But every time the Rams face a tough pass rush, they get the ball out quick, they run the ball. So let's see what's going on with that. For Tampa Bay, they're missing their star guard, Ali Marpet. He is doubtful to play with a concussion. And, we all know what happens when you have a replacement guard center kind of combo. You have to shift the line. That's where Aaron Donald makes his living. So, I feel this is just going to be a great game with tons of great matchups. You got Jalen Ramsey maybe against Mike Evans. You've got Godwin against Darius Williams, who should start being a household name for everyone. Troy Hill versus Antonio Brown. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And, as far as Tom Brady is concerned, the wheel of karma, I feel it's time for it to spin back around and smack him in the ass, because he's owned the Rams in 2 Super Bowls. And, I think this is, I would love for him to go out with the last matchup against the Rams with a loss. So I feel like the Rams are bringing it. They had a bye 2 weeks ago, so they rested up, and they took care of Seattle. They looked decisive in that game. And now they're playing Tampa Bay, who still hasn't had a bye week. So, they're an older team. We'll see how this affects them. And Tampa Bay has not played well in primetime games. So I'm talking myself into a Rams win. I'm always going to lean Rams because they're a top team in the NFL. But this game is going to be huge and can go either way.
Yeah, Liam messaged me he couldn't be here today to stick up for the Buccaneers. But again, they are looking like a huge contender this year. I want to see if the Rams are real or are they pretenders. I know their defense has been pretty good this year. My question is, Cam Akers led in rushing attempts last time they played. Is Cam Akers now starting to emerge, or what's going on here?
Yeah, I think what you saw last game is going to be kind of how the Rams are going to go forward. And, he didn't have the most snaps out of the running backs, but he had the most carries.
Right.
Malcolm Brown saw some third down snaps and a lot of carries and touches, which was interesting. But I feel like the kind of rotation that they had, I think Henderson and Akers will see kind of the lion's share, and Malcolm Brown will get some of the third downs. So I don't know if there's going to be like a massive emergence. Like it might always really be like a 3 to 5 touch difference between Akers and Henderson. So it's really hard to say. Like, I think the rotation is really just, that's how it is, with one guy always kind of eking out touches compared to the other.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Trent. Anything else you want to let us know?
Well, I mean, this is not just NFC West for Rams, but this is NFC jockeying for postseason seeding. And like I said, this is McVay and this is Staley going up against Brady, and I expect it to be a good one. And I feel like the Rams have the eye of the tiger, the eye of the ram in this game.
Yeah, I'm excited. Actually, I will be looking forward to it. I'm very, pleasantly surprised that we both have a good Sunday night game and a good Monday night game. Thoroughly entertaining games both nights. There hasn't been a week where I found that there was 2 good games on both nights. It's very rare,
Yeah, this will be good. And I mean, it's going to be a lot of stars in this game, right? So
yeah.
Like, the Rams have a lot of top players. The Bucs have a lot of top players. Like, it's just crazy that Antonio Brown is like a wide receiver 3.
Yeah.
So that kind of says everything.
It's crazy. Well, thanks, Trent. As per usual, appreciate you being on, man. It means the world to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's wrap this up with news and notes with Scott the Doc. What's going on? Injury news and notes, that is.
Yes, sir. This week is actually short and sweet, mainly because the injuries that happened were to some pretty big names, but there weren't too many. Most of these are just going to be kind of some updates. We'll start with New Orleans Saints quarterback Drew Brees. He is now officially up to 11 fractured ribs.
Wow.
I think it's 8 on one side and 3 on the other. He also had a collapsed lung, pneumothorax. So, he's looking at weeks out. They'll probably put him on the IR, but it would not surprise me if he's out for the rest of the season. Maybe back in the playoffs, but it's pretty. He's pretty beat up, and there's not a whole lot you can do with ribs. They just kind of have to heal. So you're looking at 6 to 8 weeks for those to heal up. Arizona Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray had an AC joint sprain. Hopefully it's just a grade 1. If it is, just a week or 2 for that. Detroit Lions running back DeAndre Swift out on the concussion protocol. Unlikely this week, but likely to see him back next week. Cincinnati Bengals running back Joe Mixon. Finally, the foot injury caught up with him for good. They finally put him on the IR. He'll be out at least 4 weeks, looking like week 14, 15 for a return. But realistically, with Gio Bernard stepping up, he'll probably just sit the rest of the season out and get that foot healed up.
Right.
Detroit Lions wide receiver Kenny Golladay still nursing that hip injury. I think it's a hip flexor that he suffered in week 8. He's still like probably 1 to 2 Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver Laviska Shenault. Hamstring injury is going to keep him out until week probably 12. He's still kind of nursing that hamstring injury. It's going to be 1 more week probably. Chiefs wide receiver Sammy Watkins suffered a setback, a new calf injury sustained during practice this week, on top of the one he was already nursing. So again, Watkins at this point probably a wide receiver 3-4 if he does even come back, but it would not surprise me if this injury keeps him out the rest of the season as well, or at least until the playoffs. Then last but not least, we've got 2 tight ends to report on. One is an update on Philadelphia Eagles tight end Zach Ertz. That high ankle sprain, he'll be out this week, but likely back next week. And finally, Seattle Seahawks tight end Greg Olsen ruptured his plantar fascia on his foot. He's going to have surgery, likely 4 to 6 weeks. He's probably done for the season as well.
Man, crazy. It's been a crazy year, hasn't it? Is this one of the worst years for injuries, would you say?
Absolutely. Hands down. This week, like I said, really was short and sweet. We had about 8-10 injuries, and it was a light week,
Yeah.
The last 6 to 8 weeks have been ridiculous with this sheer amount of injuries. And a lot of that obviously is the shortened preseason, not enough time to really ramp up. And then we had the curveball there with COVID, because there have been players that have been listed as out due to COVID as well.
It's weird. We thought that COVID would be the main issue this year, but it's just been all the other injuries. It's been crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think, we talked about this very early on. I think it was week 1 or 2. They just didn't have enough time to ramp up with full contact. And it's not the preseason games, right? That's not what we need. They could get rid of the season. The issue is you've got to start ramping up with scrimmage-like intensities that are equal to game time intensities right before the season for a couple weeks. So whether you do preseason games or not doesn't matter. There has to be time to ramp up and really kind of get that full contact in for these guys to make sure that they're staying injury free.
All right, Scott, we appreciate you as always. Thank you very much, man. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, make sure you guys smash thumbs up and join us every week, 11 a.m. Eastern time for the virtual tailgate. Enjoy the games.